Give it up for Bridget.
Give it up for your host, Karanya. And big round of applause for Wings Health. Give a clap for that. All our free goodie bags. Because I did not have sex ed. Did anyone here clap? Anyone here go to Catholic school? Yes. Did you guys have sex ed? No. You did? Yeah, you're like 12. I'm 43. So we didn't have sex ed. We had something called family life, which is really deceiving when you're 11. You just say me too? Yeah, family life. It was a field trip. I thought we were going to go talk about our family's lives and traditions. Like we see a movie every Christmas Eve. Like no, we were captured and put on a bus and taken to a place called the Robert Crown Health Center where we were shown a live birth on a big screen with like not a heads up from our parents, our teachers, the nuns. Like I walked out of there so spooked. I thought I got my period in 5th grade. Turns out I was just wearing a pair of my mom's old underwear. I know, and it's weird to wear a thong when you're 11. It's just... I'm kidding, I figured it out. I'm wearing them tonight for good luck. Okay, you guys, are you ready to talk about me? Oh, it's me. I do this. Sorry. This is a story about my fuckboy Connor. Give it up for Connor. Whoever he may be. Here's what he had going for him. My sadness. Yes. Anyone ever see Always Be My Maybe with Ali Wong? Yeah. I saw it like in 2019, and I started crying during it. And I was like, oh my God, are my antidepressants? Did I forget to refill them? Why am I crying? Like, I normally don't have emotions. So I like rolled off my couch and was like, I want a boyfriend. So I joined Bumble for the 87th time. And this is what he had going for him. His accent, he was from Ireland. Yes. Clap if you love an accent. It doesn't matter. You could look like this guy. I put in ChatGPT, like, show me like a typical Irishman, and they're like, we can't. That is racist. I was like, really? So this is like at Spirit Halloween right now. So he had his accent. That was it. It was like Connor from Ireland. I was like, let's go. That's it. Like, I don't know anything else about him. It was just, he was from Ireland. He was talkative. He like messaged me right away. Yes, and I don't shut up. So I was like nice for someone to take the wheel. Like I was like, okay, this is good. He was like, hey, do you want to talk tonight? And I'm like, on the phone? Yeah. Okay. So like no one wants to do that. So I was like, yeah. So we talked, and he talked the whole time, and I don't know what he said because it was just like this accent, just like talking at me, and it was weird stuff. Like he was like, Bridget. That was my Bridget. We are going to move to the south of France and have tons of babies. And I was like, we are, forget my birth control, winks. Like, I was like, I haven't had tons of babies with Connor. But like, imagine if like a guy from Chicago, was like, want to talk? I'd be like, fuck no, What do you want to talk about, Connor from like Hinsdale, Illinois? Like Connor, like if he was from a suburb of Chicago and wanted to talk to me on the phone and then was like, do you want to go to the south of France and have 100? I would be like, you fucking psycho. But like, you're from Ireland. I know nothing about you. I was like doing a jig in my kitchen. Okay. Then he was a man with a plan. He was like, we are going out in 2 days. We like lived in neighborhoods by each other. He's like, we'll get a beer at this one bar. I was like, dun 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 dun. The day of the day, this is where it starts to go bad. Man with too many plans. We were like supposed to meet at 7:30, and at like 6:30, at like 6, he would always text me like these 4 days that this happened, but he'd like, time for a chat, and I was like, the first day I was like, yeah. And then we had our chat, and he's like, Bridget, do you like Chinese food? And I was like, yes, who doesn't? He's like, do you want me to pick you up and take you to Chinatown in my truck? And I was like, no. I will be on Dateline. What are you talking about? And like from where I lived, that would be like getting picked up on the Upper East Side to go to Fida with some stranger in a truck to go eat Chinese food. There's like a million Chinese like restaurants where I live, but I also was like, we're meeting for a beer at 7:30. But then he was like, do you like Indian food? And I was like, yes. And he's like, I'm starving. Can we go to this Indian restaurant in our neighborhood? And I was like, sure. But again, he was like so insistent about picking me up, which also was just a little creepy. But because I have a hard time saying no and I'm a people pleaser, I was like, sure, here's my address, psycho. Okay, so number 2, touchy-feely. The minute I got in the Uber and like slid over next to him, he just like grabbed my knee. And I was like, boink in the eye. Like that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, don't touch my knee. That's not that bad though. He was like, nice to meet you. And I was like, okay, maybe he's just like, a friendly little leprechaun. It's fine. But then this restaurant that we went to had stairs like going up, and I felt weird because like he didn't walk next to me, he walked behind me. And I was just like, why is this like weird man just staring at my butt? Like, I don't want anyone. And as we were walking into the restaurant, he grabbed my waist like this.
Damn.
Yes. Have you, fuckboys, I know some of you have like wives, never grab her stomach. Don't even touch
I've never
her.
done that.
She could be 9 months pregnant, don't touch her stomach.
I've never done that.
My friends were like, why'd you not leave right there? I was like, I don't know. But honestly, if I met like a girl and she was like, I'm getting divorced, and I was like, why? And she's like, my husband touched my love handles. I was like, I get it. Like, take him for what he's worth. Like, what are you doing? So touchy-feely was like too touchy. You know, again, the psycho thing is his accent. I was like, it's okay. Like, again, if he was from just a random suburb or from the city, I would be like, no, I'd probably stay. Okay, next thing. He sat there and he was like, do you like Indian food? I'm like, yes. He's like, I'm like, I'm a big fan. But then he acted as though he invented Indian food from Ireland, and that didn't make any sense. And so he was like, we gotta get this, we gotta get this. He was like telling me what we need to order. So he ordered all this food, which it was delicious. It was like a really great restaurant in Chicago. And as we were talking though, he would like pick this spinach out of his teeth. Like I was talking to my dad, and then he burped and blew it to the side. He was like, I was like, I can't wait to make out. And I was just kidding. I was so grossed out, but I was thinking like, okay, I gotta get out of here. Name calling and not name calling. At one point in the day, he looked at me and said, you really have an interesting looking face. And I was like, Connor, I don't think that's a compliment. And he was like, no, you really are a lovely girl, Megan. And I was like, well, my name's Bridget, Connor, and where'd you get Megan? But so he didn't know my name. And then last, the bill came, and I did the old, fake, give the credit card, and I, got he's like, no, put it away. So I was like, okay, he's getting some points, and then he was like, $90 for this shit? He's like, I could have made better Indian food than this. And I was like, that's not true. That's not true at all. I don't know. He wasn't a chef. He didn't work there. I don't know what he did. $90 for, 2 glasses of wine, 2 beers, and, a spread of Indian food is actually very economical savvy. Yeah, and even we were in Chicago, it was an expensive neighborhood. So I was like, well, we're in downtown, whatever. And I'm like, do you want to split it? And he's like, no. So he's like, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a note to the waitress on the back of the bill and let her know. And I'm like, do you think she has anything to do with how much that Miller Lite cost? Do you think she priced out this menu? So I was dying of embarrassment. And as we were leaving, the guy was like, thanks for coming. And we were like, thank you. And I also was dying inside because he's like, I can't wait to get in this Uber and kiss you. And I was like, I got a separate Uber. As he's walking out, told the guy at the front desk, he's like, I can't believe you have $12 beers. And the guy's like, we don't. And then they looked at the thing, and the girl had charged him for 4 beers by accident. And she was the sweetest waitress. The whole time I was just embarrassed. And he went and he re-signed it. I'm like, oh, that's better. And he's like, yeah, but I didn't tip her because she should have not made a mistake like that.
Wow.
So marry me, Connor. And the next day he asked for another chat. I said no. He's like, why? I was like, just no. And then a week later, this is the mystery. I was at work and sitting there, and all of a sudden I had this weird number call, and I'm the psycho that answers numbers that, and you never know, because you could be the next Connor. And I answer it, and it's this weird breathing that's going Bridget, and it was in an Irish accent. Okay, the only other Irish person I really know is my dad's cousin's husband, and he's 79. So I didn't think it was him, but he was like, Bridget, and I was like, Connor? And he was going, I'm so horny, Bridget, I'm so horny. I know, I threw my phone, and so I called my coworker. I was like, I think this is Connor. Let's try and get him. But we couldn't find anything. We couldn't figure out star 6 7 or whatever. So, anyways, he's out of his mind. Or it's just cultural differences. So I don't know, you guys. What do you think?
I think you dated Shrek, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, he sounds insane.
Let me do something that I'm sure none of you guys have ever seen before. Let me play devil's advocate here. Can we go back to his red flags, please? One more time. Now, I feel like usually what men get criticized for is not having a plan for a first date. We don't have a restaurant picked out. We often leave it to the last minute. We don't make a reservation. My man Connor had options. that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, do you? And he was giving you a little misdirection. Like, you want to do this? No, we're getting Indian food. He's showing you a whole different world.
Yeah.
It sounds like he knew 2 restaurants: a Chinese restaurant and then
Sounds like he
Indian
blew his
restaurant.
load on that first text message. He got way too excited.
That's like a beige.
Yeah. I think a little harsh on that. Dinner table manners. He burped and he blew it to the side.
He burped.
May I
And he was
ask-
like talking to me and like clawing spinach out of his teeth.
That's amazing.
Would you prefer him leave the spinach there?
Well, you can feel it. I would be like, oh my god, I gotta go to the bathroom. Or like, you know what I mean?
Do you-
Just comment on it, not
is-
be like, it's normal, like we've been married 40 years.
So have a little bit more shame. He didn't have enough shame.
Decorum, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, did you check if he could feel it? Like, how did you know he could feel? Like, if he burped, would he at least he blew it like somewhere else?
That's what I'm saying. You know, like, because
Like,
there's
if
a
you
lot
had
of
to-
wrong
Well, I
places
think
for the
he could
birthday.
feel
It feels like
because
we've
he
all
was
had
getting it.
spinach in our mouth
No,
recently.
no. You knew he could feel it because he was picking out his
Clawing
teeth,
at it,
right?
yeah.
Like he was like, you know,
Ideally, toothpick. would have
everyone
been
do
used.
this. Everyone.
Yeah, I think that not tipping. I mean, that got a worse reaction than the chlamydia gonorrhea.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
like a.
We didn't like that. That wasn't good.
That's crazy to do.
We do have to note what an observant guy to notice that something was. My man observed that the bill was wrong, and then he got
Wait, but he got
gaslit.
my name
Yeah.
wrong too.
Yeah.
We're not all perfect, okay, Bridget? We're not. We're all working through stuff. There's a lot of
Fuck boys.
cultural differences. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck boys, what's your diagnosis? Hold up those paddles.
I think he's a bad guy, but not a fuckboy, because he didn't manipulate. He was like.
I think he's just gross.
He's gross and he's like icky.
I have green just because he's Irish.